Welcome back. We are diving into a deep topic today. We have Margie Odom here with us in studio. She is the author of The Weight Within, Healing and Emotional Eating from the Inside Out. Thank you for joining us, Margie. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for having us. I know this book is all about handling your emotions as they are attached with food, and you have a personal connection to this struggle that many people around our community have. Would you mind sharing your story? Because I know a lot of times people struggle with reaching out for help because they think they're the only ones or they're embarrassed, but you relate to this as well.
Definitely. I mean, I spent years and years trying to get to the right diet, thinking, okay, if I find the right diet, that's going to solve this problem. And I was great at dieting. I did everything I could to lose weight and was often very successful. But lo and behold, I would just keep gaining the weight back and getting more and more frustrated and emotionally just ready to just quit. So, you know, as a therapist, I really thought there had to be a better answer, and there has to be some sort of connection that I'm missing. And I just really started working with myself and my own patterns. And once I did that, I realized that I could solve the problem without focusing on food at all. Healing the emotional patterns that caused me to yo-yo diet got me where I needed to go. So, and that's why I wrote the book that I wrote, just to really help other people figure the same thing out.
You mentioned emotional eating, and I think sometimes people hear them like, well, you know, I had a bad day. Even sometimes when I'm tired, I say I can't wait to get home and eat my ding-dongs and cereal. So what is the difference between maybe having a bad day and just rushing home to eat some junk food and get your sugar fix versus having a real issue or problem that you may need support with?
That's a great question, and there's nothing wrong with seeking comfort from food. I think that people misunderstand that. I mean, food is comfort. You think about all the traditions around food, Thanksgiving, and times you remember something that your mom made that really, you know, stands out to you. But rushing home to eat the food might be because there's some stress or overwhelm going on that you're really not comfortable just sitting with or feeling. And so what I try to help people understand is if you actually can coast through an emotion or struggle with it, you might not ever have that need to rush in and eat the ding-dong at all. You might feel a lot better, a lot faster without the remorse of eating the ding-dong. So there's a win-win there.
Especially right now, a lot of people are dealing with a lot of emotions, whether it's stress from COVID or stress and anxiety from seeing what's happening in society. And I would imagine people are sometimes using food to cope. What would you, or what advice would you have to help people get out of that cycle if they notice maybe they're gaining weight? I know you mentioned you started kind of following fad diets and quick fixes and they weren't working. What does work, and how can we get people to stay on the right healthy path?
That's also a great question. I feel like what people need to do is to start to get more present with what's going on. This is a very difficult time. Seeing lots of posts on social media about, oh, it's the COVID-19 and things like that. And that's people's way of making light of a really frustrating situation. And really what's going on is that we're overwhelmed with emotion and so much change and lots of stuck feelings and powerlessness. And so those are some of the biggest triggers for people to eat emotionally. So that's why emotional eating is so out of control right now, because so many people are feeling powerless in the circumstances that we're in right now. So what I often recommend to people is to start really noticing what's going on the inside. So, for example, first things first, if you're telling yourself, I'm stuck, I'm powerless, what can you do to reshape your thoughts about what you do have control over in your life? And then also help people, again, like kind of feel a feeling and realize it's not intolerable. And I have lots of coping skills that I teach my clients to really help them feel feelings without feeling like they're intolerable, even noticing that they did think they were intolerable and not even realizing that. So it's getting more present. That's really the trick.
If there was one thing you'd want the community to take away from your book, whether it's a message or even a statement, what would you want that to be?
I want them to know that it doesn't start with a diet. It starts with noticing your personal cycle, learning how to recognize where you are in it, and then ending the cycle first, healing the emotions first. And then you can go on to have a healthy lifestyle and a healthy relationship with food. And if weight loss is your goal, it is much easier after you've done the emotional work.
You brought up one thing that I think is really important. You said handling the emotional work first. How does someone tackle that when sometimes it may be hard for them to address that they're even feeling or have these emotions?
Well, I often tell people to start with my book, because in my book I have lots of interventions and exercises that they can start with right away. And so if they get into the book and they start working through the activities, they're going to really learn a lot about their own personal cycle and how they got where they are. And then if they want to dig deeper, then I send them to my website, which is just waitwithin.com, and I encourage them to look at my programs, my coaching programs that are either individualized or group, so we can work together and really dig deeper. But there's lots of great information in the book to help anyone who wants to get started.
Thank you. And the one thing, anyone out there who can connect to her story, know that you are not alone. You can also head to her website for more information, waitwithin.com. Her book is also available on Amazon.com.